Hello, welcome back to another Plat'n. Today we've got a really good account here, 15 years old. However, the first Platinum wasn't earned until 13 years ago, so 2 years into their trophy hunting journey with CosmicBaller. CosmicBaller is a long-time viewer of the channel. I appreciate your support, mate, and I cannot wait to jump into these. About 86 Platinum trophies on the account. We're going to see quite a bit of variety here, which I'm looking forward to. So, let's jump in, shall we? Now, before we jump in, do excuse me if I look a little bit like a drowned rat. I have just got home from work, and I feel very hot and sweaty. We're getting into summer in Australia at the moment, so it's 1,000,000 degrees, so I do apologise. But we're starting this account off with a bang here. You know I love my 100... Wait, hold on. How unprofessional of me. This isn't alphabetical order. We're going to fix this in real time here. So, we're getting rid of the overcooked there. We're actually starting the list. There we go. I've set it up. I'm a professional, I swear. But we're starting this one off with a bang here with A Way Out, which you did smash out in a week and 23 hours. A Way Out's kind of a bit of a staple of this series, I would say, at this point. Essentially, you and another player play as two prisoners as you try and escape prison and then sort of hunt down the people that landed you there, I guess. There's sort of some espionage, I guess you would say, some betrayals. Fantastic game. Great way to kickstart this list. I'm slightly concerned that there's no Assassin's Creed here, though, CosmicBaller. Please do explain. But we then get some Adventure Time, Pirates of the Enchiridion. This is obviously Adventure Time is a cartoon that is very, very popular, which is funny because I've watched exactly zero of this show in any way, shape or form. But it is a game I've had recommended to me. I believe it is sort of semi-open world, and I've heard fairly good things. And I believe it's actually not... It might be the other one. I think there's a few Adventure Time games, but I know one of them is actually kind of semi-tricky. But you smash this one out in 4 days. We then get some Ape Escape here with the first and second game here. The second game is the PS4 version versus the PS5 version here, which is the original game ported to the PS5 and with trophies added, which is nice because this game came out way back on the PS1. Actually, I think it might even be up on the shelf behind me, flanked by one of those PS1s up there. We then get some Astro's Playroom here, full 100%. Love to see DLC completions. The DLC in this one's actually pretty fun. It's obviously the speedruns, which are very good fun. I know that the recent Astrobot game that came out has started to release its own DLC, and they've gone the same route as this game, wherein one trophy sort of released every couple of weeks related to one of the speedruns. We then get the Arkham series here. We get no Platinums, but we do get most of the trophies done. I'm going to go out on a limb, CosmicBaller, and say that it's the challenge mode maps and the Predator maps that haven't been done here, and I don't blame you in the slightest. It's very much the case for me with these games as well, where they have very good stories, but I don't enjoy the combat enough to really dedicate the time to get good at it. And obviously that is something where, you know, if you practice at it, you're going to get better at it. But I know for me personally, I got the Platinum in Arkham Asylum. That's enough for me. We then get one Battlefield here with Battlefield Hardline, which is above where I am. I need to dial in the fact that that screen is... So I've got OBS on one screen and then I've got PSMP on another screen. And the way I've got it laid out is one of them is higher than the other one. So I think I'm looking at the same thing you guys are, when in reality I'm actually looking at something off the screen. So I do apologise at that. I will dial it in. But we then get some Battlefield Hardline here. For context, this is near the top of the screen in the recording, obviously. It's pretty much at the bottom of the screen on the one I'm actually looking at. But Battlefield Hardline, fantastic game. I like the spin of the sort of cops versus robbers aspect of this one compared to the pretty standard boots on the ground that the rest of them have. Unfortunately, the DLC is unobtainable, and I am going to wager this is probably not one that you've necessarily done. Sort of my early observations, CosmicBaller, and do correct me if I'm wrong, of course, mate, is you're not necessarily too focused on getting that DLC done. You more prefer the Platinums, and if the DLC comes with it, then it comes with it. If it doesn't, it doesn't. That's fine. We then get some Borderlands here, the Platinum in the first game, and then also most of the second game. I'm going to assume some of the stuff that might be left here are things like the challenges. I do remember those in the base game being quite a few. There's quite a few in this game from memory, so I do assume that's probably some of those. We then get into some Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 here, which I always love to see. You dabbled, you probably got, I assume, part of the campaign done. This is one I wouldn't mind going back to do myself at some point. Fantastic one here. This is one I might suggest maybe cleaning up if you do want to boost that completion rate, of course. If you don't, that's perfectly fine as well, mate. Call of Juarez, Bound in Blood, fantastic. Yeah, that one's fantastic. That one's fantastic. It's the Devil's Cartel or whatever it's called that I believe is the lackluster one from memory. Cartoon Network's Battle Crashes is next. Juicy 100% there. College Football 25. Obviously, this is based on America's sort of college football system, which is very, very popular over in the US, and is very fun to watch. I really like some of the mascot game modes and stuff that have come out of this. Is very, very funny. Concrete Genie is next. So Concrete Genie is a fantastic one as well. This is a game that's very sort of near and dear to my heart in that it's a game that I probably one of the early games I sort of got into content creation with when I dipped my toes into streaming back in the day. Fantastic game. You sort of play as a boy in an industrial sort of fishing village who can create magical monsters on the walls, and that sort of helps you solve puzzles and get collectibles and things like that. Dynasty Warriors is next. This was actually CosmicBaller's first Platinum trophy. It took you 3 months, and that's where that precious, that sweet ding that we all crave, that was where it developed, and it snowballed from there. We then also have 7 Extreme Legends, which is about half the rarity of the base game's Platinum, which is interesting to see. A bit of Dynasty Warriors 8 as well, followed by some Erica, and then a double stack of Fall Guys, which I still find very enjoyable. Obviously, these are both unobtainable now. The original version shut when its launcher was shut, and I believe it was Epic took over Fall Guys, and then the PS4 version has also shut down, I believe, or no, maybe it's just a couple of trophies are currently unobtainable due to the latest patch or however the game's shaped these days. To be perfectly honest with you, I actually haven't played much of this recently, but this was a game that I absolutely adored playing back in the day with some very good friends of mine. Fallout is next. We have a little bit of Fallout 3, the full 100% of Fallout 4, so you must have really liked Fallout 4, and then most of Fallout 76 as well. That's including quite a bit of the DLC. I do love to see this one. I actually think Fallout 76, and this is a hot take here, I haven't played it with NPCs. I played it back when the game was devoid of life, but I think its map is the best of the Fallout games by far. I think it's by far the most interesting map. It's just a shame the game didn't really have too much depth. We then get some Far Cry's here with Far Cry 4's 100%. I love to see this. I also note that you completed it in January of this year, which is when the multiplayer server trophies got fixed. So it is nice to see that you were able to go back and get that 100% out of the way, mate. That would have been an unfortunate unobtainable right there. Far Cry 5, you've got 2 trophies left. I'm going to assume they're either the New Game Plus trophies or they are the zombie mode trophies with the, I believe it was gold medals. Some Far Cry Primal tops us off with this series, which you smashed out in 5 days. This is one of those ones where I remember not being the biggest fan of Far Cry Primal. I sort of thought it was pretty average, but it is one I kind of want to do a 100% review on at some point. It would be interesting to go back with more of a sort of critical mindset and give this game sort of a bit more evaluation and justice outside of LOL Far Cry 4 map, but with cavemen. Some Final Fantasy is next with a bit of Final Fantasy 9, 7 and 10 HD. You've dabbled in these. I can understand not necessarily going for the full thing. In the shortest one of the 3 is 40 hours, which is still a considerable amount of time. It takes me about 3 weeks to do a 20-hour platinum these days, and that's speed running it in my time, unfortunately. Oh, sorry, no, I missed Final Fantasy 15 on the end here as well, which you have got the platinum on and did smash out a little bit earlier this year in 3 years and 9 months, which is really cool to see. Bear in mind that these unobtainable trophies actually are not unobtainable. You can reverse patch the game to access the Comrades mode. What they did is they made it standalone and they shut the version that was tied directly to 15. For a game that isn't, unfortunately, still obtainable is Friday the 13th, which unfortunately has quite a few unobtainable trophies due to both the server closure and also them just shutting down statistics tracking like half a year before the game was supposed to shut down. Never forgive, never forget, it still hurts me to this day. Ghost of Tsushima is next. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that it is Legends mode that you've still got to obtain here, which, again, I don't really blame you. It's a very different mode from the base game. It's very multiplayer focused, and it has a raid, which is it's actually pretty fun, that raid. I've got some pretty fond memories. Shout out to Cat Lord and the boys from Missing Collectible and Bruce for the fun going through that one. But the base game itself, very fun, very good open world game, decent combat. I am looking forward to seeing some more coverage of the sequel as that sort of continues to be phased out and developed. Ghostbusters, the video game's next, another one that is unobtainable due to multiplayer trophies. Good old PS3, and it's tacked on multiplayers. You'd love to see them. Although a lot of them weren't actually tacked on. A lot of them were actually sort of charming in their own ways. They just often had some very painful trophies tied to them as well. The 100% in Goat Simulator, I love to see it, mate. This is another one I'm kind of low-key tempted to do a video on at some point. Can you imagine me trying to do a review of Goat Simulator? I practically am a human goat, so that's probably some sort of bias in there. No, I will not bleat for the camera. But we then get two God of Wars here with, I assume, the story smashed out in God of War 1. I think from memory, the second playthrough tied to the first game's a speed run from memory. And then we also have God of War 2, which I think is linked to a hard mode as opposed to the speed run of the first game. We then get a Goosebumps game that I've actually never heard of. I do know about this Goosebumps game here, but I've never heard of The Dead of Night either. That is interesting. I assume it's probably more akin to something like a visual novel, just based on the source material. But yeah, I've never actually heard of Goosebumps Dead of Night. Is it any good? Because I do know that this one here, the game, is pretty decent. So I am curious. Do let me know if that one is worth a play. I can see I can see it's got DLC, so that's curious. That's something I would not have expected from a game like this. We then get some Gran Turismos here with Gran Turismo 5, which is obviously very difficult in some of its gold medals and license plates. Gran Turismo 6, same sort of deal, just a little bit easier. And the servers are still up for this one, unlike Gran Turismo 5. We then get into a massive stack of Grand Theft Autos here with Grand Theft Auto 3, the remastered edition, which is bashed out in a week. You've also got the original game, which props to you. I did the original myself around the exact same time you did it. I think I might have done it a couple months earlier than you. I think mine might have been April. But I found it miserable, to be perfectly honest with you. I was not a big fan of going back and doing this one, which is funny because it's such a massive game in my sort of childhood memories. We then get a bit of Grand Theft Auto 4 here, where you've done, I assume, pretty much all of the single player, all of Grand Theft Auto 5's Platinum, and quite a bit of the DLC too. I think that's pretty much just the Doomsday heists missing, just sort of ballparking those percentages together, which is really cool to see, as well as the PS3 version here getting a bit of love as well. Always nice to sort of see it get a bit of representation too. And then we round it out with just the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the original version's Platinum Trophy. So I am interested as to why you did the remastered version of 3, but you haven't necessarily done San Andreas's. I do know that it adds a few things that kind of bump up the Platinum, the time to complete, by about 20 hours. But I'm curious as to why that is the case, and I am also curious, CosmicBaller, if you plan on doing Vice City at any point, given that that's pretty much the only one missing here that has a trophy list, of course, because there's obviously stuff like Liberty City Stories and Chinatown Walls and all that good stuff that doesn't necessarily have the trophy list. So I'm curious if Vice City and the remastered version, or the definitive edition, whatever it's called, of San Andreas, are on the plans, mate. We then get a bit of Guitar Hero here with Guitar Hero 5 and Warriors of Rock. Obviously, all of these game servers are long dead, so that does make quite a few of the trophies impossible, or a couple of the trophies apparently. Way to let me down, Guitar Hero. You're embarrassing me in front of everyone. But great games. Nice to see that you got quite a bit of use out of these. I actually have I have my Guitar Hero guitar in the background. It's apparently not in camera right now. It's slightly off the camera, but it is there, I promise. If you go back to the start of the video where I've got the wide camera, I think you can see it. Let's just move on before I make even more of a fool of myself. We then get a bit of Hogwarts Legacy, full 100%. I'm actually kind of surprised we haven't had any DLC for this game. I would have thought Quidditch would be a shoehorn for easy DLC for sure. So I am kind of interested to know that, we haven't had that at all. But fantastic game. I love Hogwarts. I love Hogsmeade. I think the story's okay. I think the side quests are pretty decent. But my god, did this game not need an open world. That open world is completely pointless and is just a whole lot of padding that was not needed. It's the only thing that really lets this game down. The combat's a little bit repetitive. It's the sort of game where I essentially worked out a bit of a motion to kill anyone and then just did that the entire game. There's not too much depth here, but it is a good game. I do like to see that you did get this done, especially, of course, you've got to do the sort of first act of the game 4 times, once with each house, which is a couple of hours each run of the exact same quests, bar one exclusive quest for each house. Hufflepuffs being the best. Shout out to my fellow Hufflepuffs. But we then get some Horizon here with Forbidden West. You dipped your toes in, you dipped them right back out, because that game is a significant downgrade to the quality of the story in Horizon Zero Dawn. It's as good, if not better, in every other aspect, but story-wise, they absolutely killed Aloy. I will die on that hill. We then get some Just Dance here. You danced a little bit, didn't dance all the way, but who doesn't love a good bit of dancing? Unfortunately, the servers for this one are also very shut down at this point. Then we get a whole smattering. We're gonna call it a smattering of Kingdom Hearts. That's what we call like a group of them. It's not a flock. It's not a murder like with crows. It's a smattering. We get Kingdom Hearts 1 twice, with the full 100% in Kingdom Hearts 358-2. Kingdom Hearts 2's here as well. A little bit of Kingdom Hearts 3, in fact, most of Kingdom Hearts 3. And then to round out the list, we have Recoded. After the Kingdom Hearts games here, we have L.A. Noire, which is one of my favourite open world games. I think it is such a shame that we never got a sequel to this. I'd go as far to say this is one of my biggest sort of gaming wishes in terms of sequels that we got. It'd be this or something like The Order 1886 even. I think both of them were phenomenal games that really, really needed a sequel. This game is fantastic, so I do think that it is such a shame that we never got one in this. But I do like to see you gave it a bit of a try here. You gave it a chance. Speaking of games you gave a chance, and one I don't necessarily blame you for not finishing, although I am impressed by what I'm seeing next, is Lego 2K Drive. It's okay. I explained this in a video that I did recently of my own games, my own ultra rares. This game, it's fun. The driving mechanics are fun. The racing is fun. There's a lot of fun to be had, I guess. But whoever decided to put the 6,000 miles trophy in this game, you're not getting a Christmas card from Old Symmetry here, because that one was a travesty and takes like 20 hours when the rest of the game takes like 15 hours. It's crazy. But speaking of crazy, we have a crazy impressive completion here. Oh my, CosmicBaller, you love your Lego games and I love a good series completion. This is fantastic. We have Batman 2 DC Superheroes, 3 Beyond Gotham, Lego City Undercover. This is one that I'm tempted to do to myself at some point. Lego DC Supervillains as well, another one I'm tempted to do. I also love the coverage of the DLCs here. This is fantastic, mate. I love to see this, actually. I genuinely do. We got the double stack of the Lego Harry Potters here. I am curious if you are planning on doing the recently re-released of the re-released PS5 version of this game. Jurassic World is here too. We've got some Lego Marvel Superheroes. This is one I've myself done. That was pretty good, although I swear that game has DLC. That's weird. I swear that one actually did have DLC. I know that I bought the DLC for it, and that is the one that I have done. But not entirely sure. We've got Lego Marvel Superheroes 2 as well here, followed by Marvel's Avengers, which, you know, you could probably mistake for the other one, but it's definitely not. We've got a double stack of the Lego Movie video game, which is actually a surprisingly pretty good game, because everything is awesome. We then get Lego Ninjago movie here as well, another spin-off movie one. I've never actually watched Ninjago. I believe they're all ninjas, from memory. Some bunch of ninja dudes running around. Not the streamer, but the guys with samurai swords. We've got some Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, and we round off no, we don't, because there's Lego Lord of the Rings here, but we round off the rest of the list with Lego Star Wars in the Clone Wars, which is a super underrated one right here. I do love to see this one covered. The Force Awakens, which had some really annoying DLC from memory, and then Lego Star Wars The Bloated Saga. I suffered through that Platinum too, and I would like those hours back. I could have put them into good games or making videos for you guys. Both a lot more productive than collecting all 1,000 bricks of garbage in this one. As you can see, didn't think much of this game at the time either. I think it was a toss-up between that and Horizon Forbidden West as my most disappointing game of 2022 from memory. I do know that there is a video buried on this channel somewhere about it, but I'm not entirely sure which one won at the end of the day. It's definitely one of those two, though. We then round off with Lego Lord of the Rings. This is actually one I really would like to do myself at some point, but I need to get my hands on it. We then get a bit of Life is Strange here with the first game and the prequel to the first game, Before the Storm. I would recommend CosmicBaller if you did like these games. Do True Colors. True Colors is by far my favourite Life is Strange game, and I do like these games, besides the second one. The second one's bad. But the rest, I do really like. True Colors is by far my favourite of the lot, so I would recommend that one, mate, if you did enjoy these ones. We then get some Little Big Planet here with the first game and the second game. Sadly, obviously, the servers have closed. In fact, let's hit you with a whole bunch of server closures here with the NHL and NFL games as well. This is one of those tragic tales of these games getting their servers shut every year with the release of the new game, which is absolutely wild. I know a lot of the sports games think you're like your FIFAs do it as well, or your EA football, I believe it's called these days, and things like the WWE games as well. They are all very vulnerable to this. But it is such a tragedy to see these. I do like that you've gone in and cleaned up these as much as you can, which is sort of highlighted by things like the NFL 17 Platinum here. I do love to see these, mate. You've done a fantastic job, to be frank with you, mate. And we round out the list with the NFL 22, which is an ultra rare in that I believe that is very buggy. I'm going to assume actually that those last two trophies probably have even bugged on you. And NFL 25, which is not the most recent NFL game, but it's not from 2025, believe it or not. It's just the 25th one. It came out in like 2011 or something from memory, but you've done most of it. Unfortunately, the servers are, of course, very, very closed. We've got Mafia here. I love Mafia 2. It's probably it's the second favorite of the Mafias for me. I like the first one's remaster a lot more. I like the story of it, and I like the characters more. But Mafia 2 is still very fantastic outside of that very painful DLC where you've got to like fall through the map for like 15 hours. Got a bunch of Spider-Man games here as well with the first game and the second game's 100%. Can't help but notice, actually no, I think the 24th of March was after the debug menu, so you might have actually done it, you might have actually gone through New Game Plus on this one, but I do like to see the 100% regardless. And then, of course, the two Miles Moraleses with The PS5 one being, I think it might be your only auto pop so far. I think that is the only auto pop that we have seen on this list. We then get a bit of Mortal Kombat here, followed by some NBA 2K and some NCAA football, which is a different American football to the NFL series. If that's not confusing enough for you, they obviously all suffer from the same thing with server closures. But we then move into, you know I love to say it. We then move into a big run of Need for Speeds here with the 2014 game. You've only got the time trials left, I'm going to assume, based on that. As you can see by the discrepancy between the Platinum and the 100%, they are very, very difficult. So I am impressed you got that much done, mate. If I was wearing a hat, it would be coming off to you. We then get Need for Speed Heat, which I actually really enjoyed. Probably a little too much collectible hunting, and the drifting in the game kind of sucks. But the rest of the game is pretty fun. I didn't mind the day-night heat and reputation systems. I thought they were okay. We then get Hot Pursuit Remastered, followed by Payback and Unbound, and then 2 stacks of Rivals. No Need for Speed The Run, that kind of hurts me, but I am very impressed with these. I also wouldn't mind knowing if Unbound's worth playing, because that's one I have been tempted to do at some point. We then get some Nickelodeon here with All-Stars Brawl and All-Stars Brawl 2, which you did smash out very quickly, followed by Nickelodeon Kart Racers. A bit of Octodad. This game's fantastic. You essentially play as an octopus who's living the life of an ordinary human dude, and you need to sort of navigate things like going to the grocery store and stuff, all without being caught out as an octopus. The game has a very heavy ragdoll physics, and it is quite a lot of fun. This is one that I wouldn't mind doing again myself at some point. We got some Overcooked here, which bamboozled me at the start of the video when I when I had it at the top of the list. Amateur hour from me, I do know. We all know that Symmetry here works with some very high production value, I promise. Power World is next. This is one you're currently working on. This is that Pokemon not Pokemon game, followed by some Police Simulator, which is a cool one to see here. Definitely an interesting one on the list. Some Ratchet and Clank as well, with the 2014 remake slash reimagining that's actually pretty good, followed by a little bit of Crack in Time, which is one where you go through some different time periods and stuff, which is interesting, and then you're rounding it out with some Rift Apart. We have, I assume, pretty much all of the single player of both Red Dead Redemption and Red Dead Redemption 2. Definitely don't blame you for going for these multiplayers. Both of them are long and painful in their own very special ways. One of them has a whole lot of painful gambling, and the other one has you picking flowers for several dozen hours. Some Resident Evil next, with Resident Evil 2 on the list, but no trophies here. I think that's the first F rank that we've seen so far. Followed by Resident Evil 5. So Resident Evil 5 is one you actually really like. That's interesting. I am curious as to why that's the only one that we do see on this list. We get a bit of Resogun here as well, and we round out the R's with the full 100%, which is fantastic to see, of Rocket League. I do know that this was unobtainable for a time because they got rid of trading in the game, so I assume they must have changed the trophy requirements. That's cool to see. Alrighty, and following Rocket League, we have Saints Row 4 and the third. The third, you are missing only one trophy, but I think it is a multiplayer one from memory, being on the PS3. Not entirely sure of that, but I think that is the case. And then Saints Row 4 is the one where you're Superman the President, which was an interesting take. I didn't mind the game, but it is certainly interesting. Sleeping Dogs 100% is an interesting one here. I love the base game of this, but I really didn't like the DLCs. I thought the DLCs were actually really, really average. So I am interested to see this one at the full 100% here. Especially, I think there's one where you play sort of additional police sort of missions, and then another one where you go to like a combat island. They were super forgettable compared to the actual genuinely amazing base game. Sonic is here with Sonic Adventure 2 and Sonic Mania, followed by some South Park here with a double stack of the Stick of Truth and the one stack of the Fractured Butthole. Fantastic games. It's a shame Snow Day was a significant downgrade in terms of quality compared to the absolute juggernauts that these two are. We got a bit of Star Wars Battlefront. I believe this is about the same time that this came out on PS Plus, followed by the 100% in Fallen Order, which I love to see. This is one I plan on doing some coverage of very, very soon. I do love my Star Wars. I actually just started Star Wars Outlaws, so do expect a first impressions for my eventual 100% review on that, probably in the next week or so, I would say, based on sort of my schedule. We then get a little bit of Force Unleashed 2 here as well. I assume that's probably enough to get through the story. A little bit of Subnautica as well. Some kind of tricky trophies here. I do know that the PS5 version, you can't use the developer console to just kind of teleport everywhere. So I do like that this is one you're doing legit. I do find that very impressive, mate. Some Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, followed by Man of Medan, which is probably, it actually is my least favorite of the Dark Pictures games. I think it is by far the worst one. Very rough to replay this one. 4 playthroughs. That's 3 too many, given that the first one's kind of meh. We then get a double stack of Skyrim, which I always love to see. 100% in the PS4 version, however, not in the PS3. I don't blame you here in that I do remember the file sizes getting very large, and then the game running at an absolute crawl after that point. We then get a bit of Godfather 2 here, which is a very surprisingly good game based on the Godfather 2 movie. The Order 1886, I said it before, a game I would absolutely love to see a sequel in at some point. You all know that I have massive influence over Sony's development, so Sony, I know that you are watching this. I want the Order 1887 by quarter 2 of 2025, so you better get to work, guys, because I want that fantastic follow-up to that cliffhanger that we all know and love. We then get the Quarry here. Fantastic. This was this might be my favorite of their games. Obviously, these guys did Man of Medan and Until Dawn as well. Yeah, I think this one might be my favorite. It's either this or Until Dawn. I think they are considerably higher quality. Sorry about that. Higher quality than the Dark Pictures trilogy. I'm getting tired. I've had a long day. But I think these are a step up to the Dark Pictures games. I haven't played The Devil in Me yet. That one actually does look very, very interesting. However, the Until Dawn PS5 remake looks pretty average at best. We then get some Sims 4, which is not good on this console. Thankfully, you can use the galleries to unlock quite a lot of the trophies, which is nice because the performance of this game on console was very, very bad. We then have a bit of the Survivalists, which is a really cool one to see, followed by The Wolf Among Us, which I believe is our first Telltale game of the list, and by the look of it, the only Telltale game of the list, which is very interesting. You went with quality over quantity there, and I do like to see that. The Division here with Division 1 and 2. You've got the Platinum in both, but no DLC. Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3's here as well, followed by a cheeky double stack of Uno. The fantastic Until Dawn, like I said, it's either that or the Quarry as my favourite game from, I believe it's Super... Is it Supermassive? Is it Supermassive that does these games? I can't quite think it off the top of my head. I do know it, but I am drawing a blank right now. And then we round off the list with our only wrestling game in WWE SmackDown vs. Raw. So CosmicBaller, I think this is a fantastic account. I think that this is a great representation of 15 years of trophy hunting, or 13 years since your first Platinum. There is a fantastic spread of variety here. And this one definitely gets the Simi seal of approval, mate. Thank you so much for all of your support over the couple of years of doing these videos. It has been a genuine honour to go through this list. Of course, guys, if you made it this far and you'd like your own list covered in these videos, pop your PSN in the comments below. If you need to, link me your PSNP as well. That always makes it easier. And if you've got this far, tell me which game you are currently working on at the moment, and how far off the Platinum you are. I am very curious to hear that. I'm getting very close to the 100% in Dead Space. remake myself. I think I should be able to get the Platinum at least tomorrow. I'll definitely have the Platinum by tomorrow night, after work tomorrow, which should then mean that I have the 100% review out in the next like half a week to a week, give or take how busy I am in the next few days, which is very, very busy. But I should be able to get it out as soon as possible. It is definitely up there in my my priorities. The 100% review for Dead Space. Keep an eye on it. I still am hoping to maybe get either something like Crow County or even Alone in the Dark, the remaster of that, one of them out as well before Halloween, and get a review after 100% for one of them out as well. But we'll sort of see how I'm traveling in terms of videos and stuff. But this is the end of this profile review. CosmicBaller, thank you so much for letting me cover your account. It's absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait to look into this one in the future. Guys, this is Symmetry. I'll see you on the next video. I miss you already. Goodbye.